online. Welcome to another episode of the Big Blue Tent podcast. Come in, get comfortable. All are welcome here. The views from Gups and Aiden are strictly for entertainment purposes and should not be mistaken for facts. 30 seconds until round 1.
Shut up and sit down.
Okay, here we go. Welcome to the Big Blue Tent podcast, episode 16. It's Wednesday, the 16th of August, 2017, and you're listening to Matt Gupping and Aidan Burke of the Big Blue Tent. Hi, Aidan.
Hi, mate. How you doing?
All good, buddy. All good. Just a quick thanks to all of the Big Blue Tent sponsors. We've got Number 5 RC, that's Mike Parker up in the north.
Yeah, Mike Parker.
CML Distribution, we've got RC Octane, that's John Finch down in the southwest, looking after all the local boys down here. There's Alan Painter with Nuclear RC for all your glues and acetones, and of course DTS Apparel, which is Chris Streams with his designs that stick, and you can find all of those guys on Facebook on their respective pages, or in the Big Blue Tent group or page. Yeah. So there we go. What have you been up to then, mate?
Me, mate. I went racing on Sunday.
I know you did.
Southport.
How was the new car?
Car was ace. It had been expertly rewired by Tom Patterson.
Fantastic news.
If anyone is like me and not allowed a soldering iron, speak to Tom Patterson, especially if you're in Southport in the northwest. He'll do a great job, very reasonably priced.
Well, there you go. There you go. Well, I'm glad all your electrics worked. How was the buggy?
Well, actually, my electrics didn't work because one thing that Tom Patterson has a terrible habit of doing is forgetting to put the sensor wire in.
Oh yeah.
So I turned it on, and obviously the motor never moved. I'm like, these are interesting flashing lights on my speedo. Wonder what these flashing lights mean. Oh. He had made me a lovely mount for my fan. I've got a big fan behind the motor. Car runs quite hot. So he's made me like a little plastic fan that's stuck down and screwed on. So that's ace. We were debating whether it should suck or blow.
I had the same discussion with Chris Busby at when were we talking about that? I don't know, regardless of when we were talking about it, I had the same discussion with him. He said the fan on top of my 510R Reedy ESC was upside down. And I said, well, it's not because the sticker's on the top. But I think Chris thinks they've put the sticker on the wrong way. But I don't know whether it does suck or whether it blows.
Well, we're talking about my RZ6. So it's back end of a four-wheel drive for anyone who doesn't know it. So I've got just looks like back of every other four-wheel drive. Shorty's a one-side motor there, and I've got a big fan came with it. Thanks, Lee, Ralph, really good. And it's currently set to blow. So it's blowing air forwards in the car.
Hang on a minute. Right. You're not talking about the fan on your ESC, you're talking about the fan behind your motor.
Yes.
Right, now, from what I understood about them, the idea was to not push cold air onto the motor, but was to draw the heat off of the motor and push it out of the car.
Okay. Well, mine doesn't do that.
Okay. So what you're doing is you're pumping the hot air that's trapped inside your shell in a sort of circulatory motion back onto your motor. And I'm sure people will probably correct me on this, and there's probably lots of different ways to do it, but Yeah, I would have thought
that's what the discussion was. What's actually happening, or should you suck it, put it the other way around? So the motor, it's great, it's fine. The car was really good. Does feel very different from the yoke, or I suppose any like car with a sort of 3-gear lay down on it. Then it doesn't pitch at all on acceleration or on braking. It just stays dead flat.
Mm-hmm.
The weather was dry. The track had plenty of grip. I was running. In fact, I turned up with a set of blue darts that Trish Neal had given to the people of Southport, and I stole them to put on, but I didn't have any wheels, so I just ran with yellow darts, cut fronts. Really good.
Mm-hmm.
Tony Parr, who gave me all the KO show help, had set me a turn around and said, well, maybe you change your springs at the front. So I did that.
And what springs did you use?
I think I went to orange, associated orange.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
I think I was on either purple or blue.
Okay. It's interesting to see how many cars run associated parts on them.
Yeah, the springs, yeah. And I think I'll probably be using associated oil as well. You know, let's spread that on the internet. That's a major news story. Forget about people winning US Nationals. Aiden's thinking about changing his oil.
Yeah.
Just because it's a pain in the arse being the only one with a make of oil. And I think most of the KO Show guys do just use KO Show springs, but Tony Parr hasn't got any.
Okay.
So he uses associated. So I just use whatever he uses, and I've got everyone's got some. I borrowed a set off Tommy, got some more off Tips. So it was really good. I did okay. I was chasing Sean Norris all day. As he put on Facebook, he never needed to be marshal or rolled it once through the entire day, which made it very difficult to catch him. I think I beat him one round when he got caught up with some back markers. But we had a decent heat, good day, all fun. It needs to be a bit quicker.
A bit quicker down the street. Or are you just, like you say, you're crashing and Sean isn't?
No, that's not... I actually drove really well and didn't crash very often. And when I say a crash, I meant it's the greatest car for rolling back on its wheels. Not like the pros do it. Not like you saw the guys at the National when they crash, they jam their throttle in 10 different ways, and so it flicks back up. It just rolled over and just rolled back onto its wheels. It was amazing. And that was it. So, but Sean didn't even do that. So my two quickest runs were the 2 runs that I kept it on all 4 wheels, but down the straight, specifically down the straight, it just lacked legs.
Yeah.
And I've got a Team Orion 7.5 in mine, and I put a 27 pinion on it, which seems massive to me.
That's ridiculous.
It's massive.
That's
maybe
ridiculous.
I don't know how big the spare is. So
on a modified car, a 27 tooth pinion, man, that's insane. The only ones I know that you used to run anything like that were the old the Durango 210s used to have a really big pinion, if I remember.
Maybe someone can send me a message and tell me how big my spare is. You know, if my spare is 66, that makes perfect sense. So that's
right.
it. So, you know,
okay.
Doesn't it? Rather than running an 80 on a yoke. But that was good.
No, I think you're going the wrong way, but yeah, Okay.
Oh, right, okay, see what I mean,
yeah. I think if it was like 166, a 27 would be pretty cool. But I think a 66 with a 27, if you're still too slow down the straight, it's because
I was getting overtaken.
Your car can't accelerate because it's under too much stress to get the power down.
So so my car's too slow down the straight, because Derek overtook me on this straight. So I got no 8.
Okay.
I qualified Derek McClarney, snuck into the bottom of the A final, and had a decent run. But any ground I made up driving around the bottom with a flat bit of Southport to the left-hand side, it's just immense.
Yeah.
It's just immense. And then the rest of it, it's still quite good. It's only my second. Well, I was going to say it's only in the first week when it worked every round.
Yeah.
But yeah, really good. Got some few bits to do. Tony said I should stand me shocks up more at the back. There we go. But next week, this Sunday, I'm going to Barrow.
Okay.
So,
what's that for? Is that for your regional up there?
That's our regional, a Barrow or Ulverston or Hawcote or whatever it's called.
Yeah.
And they've got this new sand-filled Astro track that they've built. Great job, looks amazing. So I just don't know what to do.
Okay.
I'm probably going to need more grip. I don't think Felix will have finished building my RB 6.6 by then. So Felix, when you listen to this, get building.
No, I wouldn't rush. I would. Not unless he's paying you.
We are coming to a... Yeah, I did try and buy Felix off with a load of my new in packet yoke spares. But as he's like, an 18-year-old lad, it's like, no, cash. So I'm like, all right then.
Well, talking about spares, I got some bits turn up from CML today, which was lovely.
Yeah.
I do love a nice package from CML, I really do. I got some Proline pinpoints.
Yeah.
Z4 compound, which is the soft one. If you remember, I think I had the Z3s, and I think the Z3s were the ones that I sent up to you, and they were just a smidge too hard,
right?
To work when they're not on EOS carpet. Very good. They were great at Mendip when it was really, really hot and the track was really sticky. But on a medium grip carpet like the one at Torbay, they were hard work on the back end. Did take a lot of bumps out though because of the slightly higher sort of walls on them. They did make riding the bumps at Mendip a lot easier, but they just weren't quite grippy enough on the back end in that compound. So I thought I'll get myself some of the softer ones. I got the Z4 wedge squared fronts as well, so slightly softer fronts. And I will be giving them a run next time I have a test day, because we've got our regional coming up on Sunday as well.
It's at Mendip as well, isn't it?
It is at Mendip. It is. So, I'll aim for BQ. Like I always do.
Nice.
And then anything else is a bonus.
Well done. But you won't be using your Proline pinpoints then?
Oh, no. We'll be on mini spikes.
Oh, right. Retro?
Yeah. Yeah, that's the rule at oh God, I can't remember whether Swindon did darts or not, but I'm fairly sure there'll be a few clubs in the southwest that are moving towards darts from sort of next year's regionals onwards.
Oh, we're not too far away from Schumacher Cactuses appearing.
Yeah, what's the deal with them? There's been ages. They're just hanging it out for the sort of carpet season to start, because I think the problem with that is if you leave it too late in the season to bring them out, all the tyre rules are kind of decided already for the events.
They are I think they are the chosen tyre of the EOS.
Oh, okay.
So they suppose they have to be out by the end of they have to be out by October.
Yeah,
but even then, I think they're handouts at EOS.
Yeah, and again, like I say, useless to anybody else if they're already on a different tyre rule.
Yeah,
it's fine at places like Torbay. I can run the wedge squares, or I can run the pinpoints, because there's no there's no rule at those events on tyres.
Right.
So you can run what you want as long as they're commercially available. You can stick whatever you want on the car. Yeah, I think that makes life a bit easier for everybody, but I can understand why the rules are in place to keep it fair.
Yeah, or support someone, or if you're getting some stuff off someone, then you might pick a control tyre. And it's Southport, slightly different, slightly funny. Astro blocks just last all day.
Yeah, especially on 10.5.
Yeah, mini pins are much faster.
Oh, they are at Mendip. I think mini pins are a league faster than most things at Mendip. But it's almost like a war crime to use mini pins now. And they're never in a tyre rule for a regional or anything like that. And I certainly haven't had the same amount of time at Mendip this year as I've had in previous years, just because of travelling and doing some of the kind of bigger events, I suppose. But I'm not saying that. We had a week off last week. I managed to get up there for a couple of days and have 2 sort of fairly long days worth of practice and testing, and just making sure the car felt right again after Robin Hood, because that was a bit of a nightmare weekend. It kind of, when you do something and it sets you back quite a way in the progress you've made.
Oh yeah, I do it all the time.
I broke my own rules and used the different setup and changed too much on the car. When I preached to everybody about doing the same thing over and over and over again, I went and did that thinking I could gain an edge, and it knackered me. So it's just taken a couple of decent days worth of just going through certain bits on the car, making sure I'm changing things in certain orders and putting them back, and making sure everything's the same between the turnbuckles and things like that, and just making the most of a couple of days. And I think the car's pretty much on it now. Probably a little bit more I could have gained out of the track that was laid down on Sunday, which of course was virtually the exact same track they used for the Lee Martin training day there.
Oh right, yeah, that looked good.
Yeah, did you see the live video of the No Marshall race?
Yes, I did. You told me I had to watch it. I really enjoyed it.
Lee's face through some of that, I was just wetting myself. As you know what's going through his head, and the fact that he had so much patience with all of them was, all credit to him for that. You cannot fault him for that at all. That looked like a great day.
Yeah, well, we're definitely stealing that as a region. We're definitely stealing that idea.
Mm-hmm.
Except I'm going to make it open only to vets. So only till he's going to come and teach the Northwest over 40s how to drive. If he thought
would that be all the guys who have got a Kyosho?
Well, everyone. Lee's a loving man. So whether you've got a great car like a Kyosho,
okay, old man's car, yeah.
Yeah, hopefully, mate. If you look at the Northwest, it's I think there were 3 Kyoshos NRA final.
Oh well,
but
that's not bad.
But it was me, Tony Parr, Derek McClarney.
Ah, right. So it wasn't like a proper A final. It was
oh god, no,
Club A final. Okay.
Oh yeah, it was definitely. Ever was even on his holidays.
Don't get me wrong. You take the A finals where you can get them, buddy. I do. I'll take any A final I can get, even if there's only 3 people there. And it's just one final. I'm taking that. I was in the A. But
my scores were, I think I got 2 5s. So do you know what I mean? That shows you the top 3 were gone, and then it was Sean and me, and mostly Sean. Except for one round where I beat Sean. Very important. I thought that was the most important round to beat Sean. But then he got in the final and just drove away from me. But then I had Derek behind me.
Yeah, I did see the score sheets from that one.
Thank you very much.
I did
I was
see
8.
the score sheets. Yeah, very good. Very good. Looked like the car was consistent anyway. Maybe the odd little blip here and there, which obviously cost you the race. But yeah, seemed like you were going all right from the numbers on the sheet.
Yeah. Don't look at the top, because I was doing 24s, and Mark Smith was doing 23s. No, sorry, he was doing 22s.
Yeah.
So there we go.
That's it. That's the difference, mate. You'll get there, though. You'll get there.
Yeah, of course. I am. So I'm hoping the RB6 is an old man's car, as I am an old man. It will suit me down. It will suit me down to the ground. Good. Right. So I'll tell you what. We've babbled on for long enough. We can probably get somebody on the line fairly soon. Who have we got coming on tonight? Well, we've got everyone's favourite guy in RC and 1/10 off-road in the UK. That's surely everybody knows who we're talking about now. We've got Tom Yardy on.
That sounds like a great idea, mate. How about you push some buttons this week and see if you can get him on without any hassles?
Okay, mate. I've been quite good pushing buttons, so at just some point, Tom Yardy should appear.
Well,
hi guys, can you hear me?
Hey, how you doing, man? Oh, is he still there? I can hear him.
Hello.
Hi, mate.
Oh.
I don't think he can hear us.
We've got him.
I can just about hear you. Can you hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you loud and clear, man. Loud and clear.
Okay, cool. That's fine.
How you doing?
Yeah, I'm alright, thank you. Yeah, you guys alright?
Yeah. Just had a very nice curry. Not that anybody else would know that.
I heard all about it.
Good.
We're preparing for Kidderminster.
Oh, right, okay.
So we thought we should eat curry.
Yeah, good shout.
Yeah, it was curry from the Chinese, though, so maybe not the greatest prep.
Yeah, that is our plans for Kidderminster. We know not about the track, not about what's going on, but we're definitely going for a curry on Friday night.
Yeah, sounds good. I did see you'd asked about that on Facebook, but I'm not actually that local to Kidderminster, so I couldn't really advise on that one.
Whereabouts are you?
So I actually live just by Lichfield, so I'm sort of right in the Midlands.
Okay.
So I'm probably about 40 miles from Kidderminster.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, that's not too bad. It's not too bad. Mendip's about this, a little bit further for me, but yeah, you could pop down and have a curry with us on Friday.
Yeah, maybe so. I'm hoping to be there on Saturday to come and have a look.
Yeah, that'd be good. Yeah. It'd be good to see you down there, man. So what's the score with the Nationals this year then?
It's gone pretty well, to be honest. Yeah, we're heading into Stotfold next week, and I've already secured the Edinburgh Championship. So
nice.
Right, okay.
Pretty good. It's pretty good going. So I can actually go into that one a bit more relaxed, because I can't actually, depending on no matter what happens, I can't go forward and I can't go backwards. So
right, okay.
I could either TQ and win, or I could come last and it'd be the same outcome championship wise. So
that would be a good meeting for you then.
One, so. Yeah, it should be a good one. Yeah, I usually quite like the Stotfold track and stuff, so it should be good. It's good to have it back on the calendar actually, because it was missing last year, so that'd be cool.
Yeah, and how are you finding the new cars? Well, I say new cars, they've been out a while now, but how are you sort of getting on with them compared to the KF2 and the old four-wheel drive?
Well, actually, I didn't really have a lot of experience with the older four-wheel drive. So when I joined Schumacher, the K2 was already on the horizon. So I drove the KF2 last season, and obviously we're on to the KC and the KD now. But I didn't actually drive the K1 previously. So yeah, I mean, the both cars have performed really well this year. I think apart from Robin Hood's National and parts of the Southport one, apart from that, I think pretty much everywhere we've gone, we've been shown reasonable pace. Really, we've been. I was pretty close to near the front at Telford and at Bourton and some of the others. So yeah, I mean the car's been really good. I'm a lot more comfortable with both of them when we get to run dart tyres.
I think
seems to work out really well.
I think a lot of people are
okay, but they're a better tyre in general.
What do you find is the advantage of the dart then? Is it just the overall pace, or is it because for me it's the fact that I can push my car much harder round a corner without any fear of it flipping over from the back end with darts on than I can with mini spikes.
Yeah, I think it's. I think the thing is if you look at the structure of the dart tyre or the sort of the profile of it where it sits on the wheel and the stiffness of the sidewall and various things like that.
Mm-hmm.
I think you can just lean on it a little bit harder than you can the spike. So the spike's a bit more of a more rounded carcass and moves around a little bit more when you're driving around. Certainly on a track like Southport, 'cause I'm guessing that's where you guys are using them more frequently than usually. I think that's one of the places where they move around a little bit and stuff, and they can be a little bit harder to drive. But the dart tyre seems to cope pretty well with being attacked pretty hard, really.
Yeah, but we still made you run on mini spikes at Southport.
Yeah, you did. Yeah. Thanks for that.
Anytime. You know, we're Southport. No one likes us. We don't care. We're just going to do exactly what we want to do. Be a chance. Have you used the KC every round, or have you used the KD once in a while? I can't remember.
At nationals, we haven't actually had need to put the D out yet.
Right.
At national level, I've used it at a couple of regional events that I've been on. But actually, we've kind of found that the track needs to be really wet for the upright car to have an advantage. Really. I think that it says a lot about the sort of versatility of the lay-down cars, is that you can get them tuned in pretty well even in the wet.
Yeah.
But when it's really saturated, and certainly if you're running on grass or something like that, it can still be an advantage to put an upright car out.
So when you're doing wet, when you're sort of wet with a KC, what do you do? Just put a ball diff in, make it softer.
Go to a ball diff, essentially shorten the rear links a little bit, shorten the wheelbase. Soften the shocks off a little bit, but just all the usual stuff really you'd do with any car when it was going to low grip condition. The biggest thing is just putting the wet weather tyres on. I mean, if you switch to either a set of ballistics or stick a set of silver darts on or whatever, depending on which track you're on, that seems to be half the battle now. The cars are that good now that as long as you've got the right tyres on, you can pretty much get away with it setup wise.
Yeah, I'd agree with that. I think it's a massive part of the game. You know, if you haven't got the right tyres on, you soon know about it, don't you? That's the thing with these, because they are kind of almost super sensitive to any changing grip. I do find that through the day with the laydown cars, I'm trying to adjust for the grip as it goes through the day, because the tracks are, I don't know, they feel more unpredictable than they used to. You know, I could drive a B4.1 with the same set of mini spikes on it for 3 club meetings without having to worry. But with these, I'm worried. I'm going, or should I put another set of new tyres on? Just so that I know exactly what the car's going to do. I can kind of adjust myself then on the track to it, rather than worrying about changing everything with it.
Yeah, I think the lay-down cars certainly put a lot more down through the tyres now than some of the other cars used to do, the rear motors and stuff. So I think you get a much more consistent feel, but of course the consistent feel will ebb away as soon as the tyres start to wear a little bit. So you kind of have to keep an eye on your tyre selection a bit closer. But I think it's certainly changed the game a bit in two-wheel drive. Two-wheel drive's always been probably the toughest class, I've always thought. But I think the speed of them now, they're just getting closer and closer to the speed of four-wheel drives around the track now. And,
yeah.
You know, I wouldn't say they're necessarily getting much easier to drive, but they're certainly getting faster and faster for sure.
And Schumacher have put their motor in the same place everyone else's motor is, but have still managed to use a belt.
Yeah, well, it's in the same place as everyone else's is when we run it in that position.
Yeah.
The other beauty of our two-wheel drive car is that you've got another 3 motor positions you could look to run.
Right.
So you can bring it as far forward as enough to actually run a saddle pack behind it. Is position 1, okay. And then you can run it in position 2, which is pretty much right in the centre of the car, and allows you to run a shorty pack behind. Then we've got position 3, which is the same position as what used to be the what we used to call the low grip setting on the KF2, which is just enough to get a battery just in front of it, and then you've got the no real space behind that. And then position 4 is, as you say, the more conventional two-wheel position, which is where we've tended to run it most frequently this year, which is, you know, in the same ilk as the X-Rays and the Yokomos and Associated, etc. But yeah, we've been able to get a very short belt into it if you run in the furthest back position, which is position 4.
Yeah, we just think Trish has got shares in belt manufacturers.
yeah, maybe so.
Did you just walk to a big whiteboard in Schumacher headquarters, which is like, must have a belt.
yeah, you're quite right. Yeah, but I mean, at least they've gone to the trouble of, you know, with the KC kit and things like that whilst it is quite versatile in all the positions you can run, they've given you everything in the box to be able to do it. So yeah, I mean, that probably demonstrates your point there, really, because the kit comes with 4 different belts. So yeah, there's lots of belts in supply.
Do you find there's much of an advantage with the belts then, or is it sort of just the margins are so small now that you just, you know, belt or standard gearbox, you're not going to really notice a lot of difference? Where's the kind of advantage with the belts coming from?
Well, I mean, what I have found, an interesting thing we found during testing was that sometimes if the track was quite pretty damp or pretty low traction, what we do find sometimes is that if we move the motor further forward, which sounds like a bit of an alien thing to do, and it gets a little bit more low grip, but if you move it further forward and you've got a slightly longer belt, I actually think, and this is just a theory of mine, and I've never really discussed it with Trish and the guys, but the extra sort of a slight bit of lag you've got when you punch the stick.
Yeah, the elastic band theory on it.
That's it. Yeah, to have the belt tension. Sometimes you can actually generate a little bit more traction with the belt on occasion.
Okay.
But to be honest, when it's in position 4, I'm not really sure. There's a big difference in feel. To be honest, it's a tricky one because I haven't driven one of the lay down competitor cars, to be honest. So it's been a long time since I've driven anything that didn't have a belt in it. As I say, we've done some limited running with the KD, which is obviously just skiers. But yeah, I think that's just one of the thoughts. Is I think it just feels a little bit smoother when you're looking to accelerate and you're moving through the revs and things like that. Okay. It's a slightly different feel.
To be fair, though,
it certainly sounds cool as well.
Looking at you guys going around the track and the likes of, you know, Ben Jameson and up at Robin Hood with or Michael Orlowski the other week, you know, it doesn't look like they're lacking anything coming out of a corner.
No.
They were flying around Robin Hood with them. You know, you can't deny it.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. They're I mean, it's as I say, I don't think there's a big advantage or disadvantage to having the belt in there, but I think it's a nice thing for it to be slightly different to all the cars that are out there. It's nice to see a bit of innovation on that front, really. You know, because there's a lot of if you look at many of the cars on the two-wheel drive market now, the lay down options. You know, as I had said just there, you know, it's in position 4 on our cars, the same motor position as everyone else, and a lot of the manufacturers are all going down the same route. So it's quite cool to have something that's slightly different.
I think one of our guys bought an X-Ray and put his old yoke shell on it.
Yeah, yeah.
and just drove around. And I think I had a B6 shell on my yoke. You know, they just all look exactly the same. But no, that's good. You talked about sort of testing. Did you get involved in a lot in the testing for the KCKD? How much testing do you do?
To be honest, I mean, I don't get involved that much. I work during the week. I've got a full-time job, and I would like to use up most of my holiday on spending time with my wife and things like that. So I try to avoid any rows by trying to use my annual leave wisely. But during the summer, sometimes there's the opportunity in the evening to go and meet up with Trish, and we'll go to the Telford track or somewhere relatively local to here, and just run a few packs through if we've got something interesting to try, or a new car that's in prototype phase. So I did get the opportunity to try the KD and the KC before release, but I wouldn't say that I had much input into the design really. By the time we had a go with it, it was pretty much at the point of being signed off as production ready. So but it was still really cool to give it a go and see what it was going to be like, and have a feel of all the new features and stuff.
Mm-hmm. So who does that work at Schumacher? Is it Trish?
Much, it's pretty much Trish, but he's still got the support of Phil Booth there as well. So Phil Booth's been sort of their long-term design engineer, and Trish has now taken on that role as Phil's sort of. I think Phil is virtually retired. I think he's trying to. He still, goes in every now and again, and still contributes to some things. But I think that most of the designs are Trish's ideas, and he's getting better and better every time. I've really enjoyed working with him actually the last couple of years. He's a really nice guy, and he's got some really good ideas, and he's certainly. He's certainly a different guy to the guy I met all those years ago when he first started racing. I didn't think that necessarily I'd be working so closely with him in a few years' time. But
well, come on, tell us what was all that about then?
No, just because he sort of, when he first came on the scene, he was quite a shy and retiring lad, and he was quite enthusiastic about stuff, but. I remember at the time I was racing for Yokomo back in around about 2009, and Trish had got a Yokomo as well, and he was sort of, even back then he was sort of coming up with ideas about how to machine some parts on that differently and stuff. I think he got his own little machining workshop that he'd set up at home and what have you. And but his talents were very raw then, if you like. And he's certainly, over the years he's become more of the polished article, and I think, the contribution he's made to Schumacher, the success they've had, with Michael internationally and stuff, a lot of it's been down to him. So that's been really cool to work with him now.
That's cool. And are you finding the team as a whole is sort of a quite close knit team? We've seen them at nationals and the Invernation the other week. And it does seem like the team is big for one thing. It's certainly one of the bigger teams at the Southport National when we went up there. Is it like quite close, even though there's that many of you around? Is it do you find you're all in your own little groups doing your own thing, or is it just is everybody in it together?
I think certainly in numbers terms, it's a big team, and that can sometimes be difficult to enable us all to work very closely together at sort of national level and stuff like that. But we're always on hand. There's there's a separate WhatsApp group for all the Schumacher team drivers to get involved with. So in between meetings, we can discuss things and stuff that we've got going on if somebody's tried something or what have you. And there's the opportunity that there's always plenty of Schumacher shirts you can spot around at events. So loads of people to go and speak to and that. And I think it's really good. I think Trish does his best at the Nationals to make sure that he goes around everybody who's part of the team, and we all share ideas and things like that. But to be honest, I mean, we've pretty much with both cars, we've settled on a relatively solid base setup that just gets tweaked slightly here and there, and everybody's on hand to just see what everybody else is doing. And I would say it works pretty well as a collective unit. The only thing is that we've got it is a big team, and it's quite a broad spectrum of abilities, which is really good. But sometimes it can be difficult for necessarily for some of the more junior guys or some of the the less experienced guys to it's not always advisable for those guys to instantly put on what the top lads are using. But we always try and spend a bit of time watching each other's cars and things like that. And I think it operates pretty well as a unit, really.
We've got some new guys. We've got some new guys at Southport who have just gone to KC's. And Paul Bannister, Russell Holton, and Steve Howe, and they're all rubbish. But if you could make sure you send us your Southport setup, that would be great. And I'm going to make sure that they all copy that identically, and hopefully it won't suit them, and I'll keep beating them.
No problem.
But don't answer any phone calls or Facebook messages from any of those people. Don't give them any help, Tom.
Okay, I'll look out for them. I'll blacklist them.
What's your sort of thing for the new guys then? What's your best bit of advice you could give the guys that are starting out?
I think one thing that seems to be a mistake that quite a few guys make that I've seen over a few years is that they tend to want their car to go as fast as it possibly can. There's a lot of guys who just you can always tell when you're watching somebody if their car's too fast for them. And you do see that a lot, and I think it's easily done with brushless systems. I think that sometimes you can get lost in the world of turbo and timing boost and things like that, and people can get a bit caught up in it, and it ends up with the car being way too fast for them. And I think the important thing is just start off with your car relatively slow and just learn the basics really before you try and go fast. That's the advice I tend to give when I speak to a lot of the people who are relatively new to the hobby and things like that.
Okay.
There's a few guys who will come up to you at regionals and nationals and stuff and ask you to watch their car, and then you watch their car and it's kind of difficult to understand what it's doing because it's just too fast for them. They just can't keep it on the track, really. So, do you just say that to them? Your car's too fast. I usually put it politely. I'm just more like, so what wine motor's that? And let's have a look at your speedo settings and stuff like that. Just to find a subtle way of doing it, really. Yeah,
I'd see. I'm the opposite to that. I just tell people it's too fast. Slow it down. Turn it down. That is too quick for you at the moment. Turn it down. It's harsh, but it gets the point across both ways, I think.
What kind of motor? What kind of motor are you running in your KC?
I use predominantly a 6.5 Hobby Wing.
Do you use boost and turbo?
Yeah, I do. Yeah, so we sort of tend to play around. We don't tend to play around with it as much as we did, and we used to sort of adjust it dependent on track size and various things like that. But we've kind of settled on a sort of a nice feeling at the moment. So just standard timing, I tend to run 20 degrees, and then we boost that to 30 when it's when we're flat out. That's where we sort of run out at the moment.
That's exactly what I do. My standard setting on the ESC is 20 degrees. If I went to Southport, I'd instantly go up to 30. When I did Robin Hood, I pumped it up to 30. But even then, I'm still I got that speed out of it. But even then, I wanted to trim a little bit back out of that, off of the transmitter.
Right.
It's a weird one to work out. I guess you've all got your own kind of ways of working the speed on your car and what feels right to you.
I mean, do you tend to run exponential and stuff like that, or?
Yeah. That's basically turning it down on the throttle and just not getting the full beans out of it. Then.
Yeah, I mean, the only thing I'd say about that is that usually when we talk about exponential to people and stuff, is that sometimes it can be a bit of a dangerous way of trying to smooth it out, because obviously you're affecting the throttle curve, and then you've got a point where it suddenly has to ramp up later in the rev range. So sometimes that can be a little bit worse. So most of the time, I in my own mind, I always think leave it on linear and then just have faith in your left thumb.
Okay, okay, well that's interesting. I kind of find, especially in the wet, just to take that edge off at the top. I don't know. I think for me, I've got used to the way that feels.
Yeah, that's cool.
And it just, I don't know. It tends to. I'd normally, before I start messing about with the controller, I will just knock the boost down there. At Mendip, I'm not running any more than probably 10, 15 degrees at the most if it's really hot, and that's all you need there. But everybody's got their own way of doing it, I guess.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
I'm going to go do what I always do and go back to a question we answered straight at the beginning and use that and say that you finished third this year. Yeah. What's it like being thought of as the third best 1/10 off-road driver in the country for the last 5-10 years?
Well, I don't know if it's certainly not 5 or 10 years in a row that I've sort of been there, but I think this is I think this year is the 8th time that I'll have finished third in the championship. So it's something that I'm really proud of, but at the same time I'm a little bit frustrated by, in that third is the best I've finished, and I've never actually broke into the top 2. But at the same time, I mean, the guys who I'm coming third behind are without a doubt, 2 of the best in the world.
Oh,
so
man, you get third in the national, you take that as a win.
Well, yeah, absolutely. Yeah. I mean, it's the thing is, I mean, like over the years, I mean, I think, as I said, I've come third a few times, and pretty much every time, Neil has been one of the 2 that's ahead of me every time.
Yeah.
But there is no shame in that, really.
Without a shadow of doubt, there isn't. And I think, do you know what? We love you more for it. I don't think any of the top 10 are as well thought of as you.
Oh, that's very kind of you.
Tom Yardy, lovely fella. I know you come to Southport quite often. You bring there's like a whole group of you who come. And at one point didn't really understand who was who. And I went, oh, that's nice. That Dodds brought Tom Yardy's dad. That's nice. Why would he? Oh, that was nice of him. Oh, really? They must have had a falling out or something, not realising that it's your sister as well.
Yeah, that's right.
As well. So it's a good group. So I think I mentioned that I might ask that question beforehand, because what's it like? We sit there and we call all you top 10 like aliens because you just drive really well, and then so you're at the very top. Yet currently this year, there's 2 fellas who are in front of you are just unbelievable.
Yeah, that's true. I mean, to be honest, over the years, I mean, if I turn the clock back sort of 12, 13 years or so, there wasn't a great deal between myself and Lee. Me and him sort of started coming through the ranks at a similar time, and then over the last sort of 10 years or so, he's really, really put the hours in. He's really worked hard at it. He's got better and better and better. He's he's a full-time pro at it now, and you don't get to that level without putting the work in and being committed to it. So
yeah,
fair play. So, I mean, you can't account for people who are better than you. You can only do as well as you can. And as I say, it's something I take a lot of pride in, and it's even more satisfying when there's days when I do actually beat those guys. So this year I won the first 4-wheel drive national this season, and that was a really great feeling. And it's there's times you've just got to hold your hand up, and I think people have said to me before, it's a shame you came along in the same era as Neil and people like that, but actually at the same time it's really good to pitch yourself against the best that's out there.
And they're great lads as well,
and
so
see how you're doing.
I'm sure you get to spend a bit of time with them at the meetings and travelling about and stuff, and they're we've obviously they've both come on the show, and they both seem like really, really decent guys, and just a good company to be with. So you can't moan at being up in that top group, stood on the rostrum with them and banging toy cars around, even if you are just behind
absolutely.
them. You know, I think there's a lot of people that would kill to be in your position.
That are regular top tenors and stuff. So,
certainly there are, man. It changes from week to week at the nationals and on the. I don't know. I think maybe maybe not so much the top 5, but you generally find that's pretty similar. But certainly from then down to the end of the A, that can change from track to track. I know Richie Thorne's I'm sure he's made a couple of A finals at the Nationals.
He's had a really good season. Yeah, he's definitely the one to watch at the F2, 3, 4, 5s. I think in the two-wheel drive class. Okay. Yeah, I think so.
Okay.
Yeah. What is he? Is he an F2, 3, or 4, 4 or 5?
He's F2. I think.
Oh, that's
okay.
I'm
pretty sure
fine.
He's F2, so.
We're just we've tried to construct the entire Northwest team based around people returning to the sport.
Oh, okay.
So they're the kind of people we've been looked after. We've moved regional, so Colin May can't get a proper grade. You know, I haven't told him that, but you know, we want a load of F5s who used to be F1s.
Yeah.
We've lost a few in the Northwest now. They've got a bit too good. Adam Perry, the Holdsworths, Crompton. You know, they've had great seasons.
They have.
What's your is Kidsey your home track?
I'd class that as a home track really. In terms of distance, the Telford track's my most local now.
Right.
So where I live now is more local to Telford. But Kidderminster is a track that's been part of the Midwest regional scene for all the years I've been doing regionals. So probably some 19 years or something like that. So it's always been a track that we've frequently raced at, and it's developed a little bit over the years, and probably still remains my favourite in the country at the moment.
Okay.
Are you still the driver's rep for nationals?
I am, yeah, that's right.
So, do you get a lot of prima donna national drivers coming up and complaining to you about things?
Not so much now. I mean, in the last sort of couple of years or so, it's really gone quiet. There's not so much a great deal of things to get involved with. It's the way it's supposed to work is really that you are there to answer any concerns of the drivers, go and represent them to the officials if they've got a concern. But what it did become for a long time was basically people complain about refereeing decisions.
Yeah.
Right, okay.
That's how it was. You know, a few years ago there'd be a lot of repeat visitors to the tent who wanted to say, you know, I've just received a penalty in the last race. I want you to go and complain about it because I didn't think it was fair and so on, which I did. But really, it's there as much for things like you know, someone's got a concern about where a certain marshal point is and various things like that. And you know, I had probably the busiest I've been this year was just at the Bourton National on the Sunday. When we arrived on the Sunday, the guys had done a new layout for the Sunday, which is it was great. You know, it's a good thing for them to do. But they'd the jump section that was in front of the rostrum. They positioned a couple of the jumps in a bit of an awkward sort of distance apart, so it was sort of a 50-50 of whether you could double them or you'd have to single it and things like that. And it in the opening few heats, it really caused quite a lot of chaos. There was cars being catapulted off the track all over the place, and you know, not many people, because the track's so big as well that not many people were getting many laps in. So I had a few guys come over and say, what do you think of this? And, you know, is there any chance we could ask them to look at it? And we actually, between myself and a few other people who'd given their opinions on it, they halted the first practice session and were able to take the jump out. And all the guys from the club did a really good job. They were straight out on the track. They were nice. Taking the jump out and getting everybody back satisfied again. And so that's the time when being drivers works well, when everybody's got a similar opinion on things. It's not always so easy when you've got someone just irate at the call that a ref's made.
Yeah.
Right, okay. Did you just have a little sign that says, I'm not arguing with Mr. Cockhill?
Yeah, well, I mean, I still used to go over and sort of give their opinion on things if they had enough sort of a good explanation at what had happened. And but sometimes it was difficult because they'd come over and complain, and then you'd say, "Well, what heat and car number are you?" And they couldn't remember, so it used to be a bit more tricky then. If they had a good case and stuff, it was worthwhile going over. Sometimes it was a little bit too petty to go and trouble the guys with. Really.
Yeah, and you soon get to spot the difference, I'm guessing.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
So I mean, in the sort of line-up to the Nationals and stuff like that, what are you doing in regards to getting cars ready and your general sort of prep in the lead up to it? Are you doing any sort of training days for yourself? Are you getting yourself a bit of track time before you go?
Not really. No, I mean, I've never. Well, certainly in the last few years, I've never had any sort of extra practice midweek or anything like that. Just if we can, just try and race on the weekends as much as possible. So I do the full regional series and the odd just one-off events here and there, and prep that way. And we tend to use the regional events for trying things that we might want to then go on and use at the national the following week. So from that front, no, there's no real extra driving preparation done. Okay. But what we'll sort of do in the week is that, my dad predominantly, to be honest. My dad's retired, so he basically devotes a lot of time to getting the cars ready and things like that. So nice. He'll give them a once over, a bit of a strip down, refresh oils in diffs, take the shocks apart, things like that, get tyres ready. Because what my dad's quite keen on doing is gluing tyres ahead of the event, to give the glue as much time as possible to settle and things. So we try and get a few sets done ready in case we don't want to be scrambling around. Perhaps we try and get a wet set of tyres done and a few dry sets done ready for whatever's going to happen on the day, weather-wise. Just the prep's just really just making sure everything's all set, ready to go. Really, there's nothing too major done.
Okay, so you don't. I mean, do you go as far as sort of replacing shafts in your shocks if they're looking a bit worn, or do you just kind of go, no, that'll do, and get it out?
No, I mean, if it's preparation ahead of a national event, if there's anything that's looking worn or anything like that, then I'll get replaced. So drive shafts, shock shafts, out drives, belts, things like that. If there's anything that's looking like it needs replacing, then he'll check that over. Might take the motor apart, just make sure it's not got any sand in it or anything like that, because the motors spend a lot of time in the car now. We don't do a lot of prep on those between meetings and stuff, so no. Just give them a quick clean over and things. But if it's a build up to a regional event, sometimes we'll just give it a once over, and if it'll go another meeting, we'll let it do the regional and then put something fresh on for the ready for the national.
Okay, but you've reminded me of a question that we've always wanted to ask, but we always forget. So how many new toy cars do you get in a year?
So just basically enough to get you through the season, really. So
how many's enough?
Just one. Just the one of each. So there's a KC, a KD, and a K2 in my fleet at the moment. Nice. And then usually we'll do a season's running with it, and then we might consider replacing it, or it depends. We'll basically weigh it up whether if there's enough parts that aren't in too bad a shape, then we will just replace the parts as necessary. But we try and consider what's more cost effective for Schumacher as well. In terms of whether it's just easy to just get a...
I had this view that every 6 weeks a new box arrives.
No, not quite. It might be that's the case with tyres, but not with actual kits. No, and to be honest, I think it's probably better to do it that way. I think because you starting to get settled on the car you're running. You don't want to necessarily have everything fresh, between events or mid-season or anything like that, because you get a feel for the kit that you've got, really. Yeah. And I always think it might just be a psychological thing, but I always feel that even if you get an exact same replica, you put all the same hop-ups on and things like that. It never quite feels exactly the same as two kits that you have never quite feel the same. So.
No, they don't. No, I'd agree with that. I think even when you strip them apart and rebuild them, you don't always do things perfectly. We're human, aren't we? At the end of the day, so,
yeah.
If you're a bit distracted putting a seal in and it goes in a little bit, I don't know, a little bit funny or whatever. I'm clutching at straws for examples of it, but
keep going. It's good.
you can obviously hit the track.
Made me and Tom wait.
Yeah,
we haven't had time to talk about fantasy football.
That's because nobody cares.
Well, we do care. We definitely care after week 1.
Yeah, Tom Yardy had a good week.
Absolutely, top of the league.
Yeah, I only had Lukaku as my vice captain. So
there you go. See, I had Jamie Vardy up front as well, and the guys at work were going, "Oh, that's a bad call. He's never going to have a season like he had before." But they were all quiet on Friday night.
Oh well. We might throw you out the league, mate. Might throw you out. Again,
it won't last, probably.
Yeah. As soon as you had a bad week, you just forget about them.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, one bad captaincy and it's over.
Okay. So you've got Stopfold left. You've got probably a regional. You got a regional this weekend.
Yeah, I'm at Coventry on Sunday. Yeah, we've got the last of our 2-wheel drive regionals, and then the last national next week, and then that's my summer season over, really.
Right. Bloody hell.
Not really too far off for us either, is it? I think we've got a regional for both of us this weekend. Oh my God, what's in the middle of the regional and the end of season finals?
The one-tenth nationals on, so there's nothing else on.
There might be club rounds or things like that.
I'll race, but
I can't remember who's running down here on that weekend.
We'll have to find out, mate. And then, what will you do indoors? What will you do with the winter?
So I'll probably be doing the Silverstone series again. So I've done that the last couple of years, which is the series which they hold on the same carpet they use at the EOS races. So I'll go and do that. Lee has in the past come to a couple of those, but it's a pretty good standard all across the board, really. There's quite a few the national guys do that, like the Cromptons and Kevley and some of the other guys. So that's usually a good standard. And then I'll do the Midlands Astro Masters series as well, which takes us to Coventry, Kidderminster, and Telford. So yeah, that's usually my winter programme, really, is with those ones. And then Schumacher asked about potentially doing some of the EOS rounds, so I'll see about that one. I'm not committing necessarily doing those yet, but I'll be depending on how I go. And if I start doing really, really well at Silverstone and it looks like I could be a contender, then I might go and do a few of those.
I've just booked. I've just booked my flights. I'm going to Poland. Yeah.
Oh right, okay. Is that the opening round? Is it?
Yeah.
Is that the first one?
Someone said the beer's really cheap.
I couldn't comment. I've never.
And Poland's very cheap. Poland does seem quite cheap. And I'm only going to do 2-wheel drive.
Oh, so that'll be a long day for you then. Well, a long few days.
Yeah, if it fits, I'd be fly Thursday morning from Liverpool, and then the flight is late back Saturday after 2-wheel drive is finished. So it's absolutely perfect for us.
Yeah.
But I won't be expecting anything good. I'm not going to go. I won't do any pre-running on EOS carpet, I don't think.
Yeah, it's a new tyre as well, isn't it? The tyre.
Have you seen it?
I've seen it. Yeah, I've not actually driven a pair of them or anything like that, but I have seen it. Yeah, it's pretty cool.
What's it look like?
It's a bit like a cross between a mini pin and a dart. If you imagine it, it's a very pin heavy dart. Really, I think that's a pretty good way of describing it.
And are the edge ones, are they sort of splayed out around the sort of corner of the tyre a bit more on these?
I can't remember actually from that. I think I don't think so. I think they're pretty much upright around the edge in a similar way to the way the dart is.
Okay.
Nice. Okay. Okay. Thanks very much, mate. It's been great. apologies again for Gups having his tea.
That's all right.
Everyone else knows what happens on a Wednesday night.
Yeah. I thought you'd be used to this by now.
Yeah, exactly.
But you didn't have Craggy waiting, did you?
No, maybe he drives for a decent
right
team. He drives for a good team, see. With the important ones, I make sure I'm on time for. All the AE boys have been here waiting.
That's a terrible thing to say to the national hero that is Tom Yardy.
You start, man. You lead me down this path. You know what to expect, mate. The choice is yours to make. I was quite happy sat here letting you say bye to Tom.
Okay, Tom. No, but it has been great. Thanks for coming on. We really do love you lots. Love to see you up at Southport. Love to see you at Southport indoors. Just bring some blocks. It's dead easy.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Well, thanks very much, guys. It's been really good speaking to you.
Yeah, it has been.
Well
great,
done with
mate.
the success of the podcast. It's been. I'm fairly new to listening to it, but I think it's really good, and it's great what you guys are doing to promote the hobby as well.
Oh, thanks, man. That means a lot.
Thanks very much, mate. That's it. But we love you more. Okay. and we'll get you on. Maybe after you've done a Silverstone round or two, we'll get you on to tell us how you're getting on there. Is that all right, mate?
Yeah, that sounds good. Yeah, just make sure you're on time that time, eh?
We will do, mate. We will do. Thanks, man.
Sorry, Tom. Bye now.
Take care, buddy.
Cheers. Bye.
Okay.
Bye, mate.
All right. There we go.
No, he's
Tom
a lovely guy, isn't he?
That was really good.
Yeah. Do you know what? The more of these superstar guys that we get on, the more I realise they are just like normal people. They aren't all freaky aliens that don't speak to anyone, and that they're nice guys. They're all pretty chilled out, and I've really enjoyed speaking to all of them, to be honest. But Tom was a superstar tonight. Loads of really good stuff there.
Yeah, it was a bit. I thought we got some good stuff. We know about cactuses. I should have asked him to send me a set.
He's not going to do that.
No, he's probably not, isn't he?
He's not going to do that, is he?
No, he probably won't, will he?
Well, you never know, mate. You never know your luck.
Yeah, maybe if him and Trish are listening to this, send us some cactuses.
Oh yeah, send us a pair of cactuses, or a couple of pairs each, and we'll test them out and do a review on the show of them. How's that?
Yeah,
I think
we'll do that.
I think it's a great idea.
Okay. Well, I've got someone else to call.
Okay.
Nathan. I asked him what his surname was. His name's Nathan Rawls.
Nathan Rawls. Okie dokie.
Nathan Rawls drives an X. I'm sure at some point Nathan will just magically appear. Hopefully.
Well, your skills with button pushing are now legendary, so we'll see how they work this time.
Oh, that's a bit scary. Hi, Nathan.
Hello, guys. How we doing?
How you doing, buddy? You all right?
Yeah.
Yeah, not bad. End of a long day.
Yeah.
Yeah. So we got you on a bit late. Gups was having his tea.
Oh, I've heard that rumour.
So Nathan, we've been chatting. We caught up really at the Southport National you're at, and we've had a couple of messages. So, what are you currently driving? What toy car do you drive?
Currently running for X-Ray. Using the XB217 in two-wheel drive and the XB417 in four-wheel drive.
And I believe you've just had a very successful weekend as well.
Yeah, it's been a very good month. Southport was fantastic for me. It's a bit of, I'd say it's one of my bogey tracks. It's not, but the distance for it from us is so far that we don't get to go there to test. So we tend to try and do damage limitation there. So to improve on both of my national scores, with a B final in two-wheel drive, I was able to drop a C and then make my second day final with a year in four-wheel drive. It was brilliant.
Yeah,
and then obviously now leading on to the veterans to push Eugene in qualify. Yeah, push Eugene in two-wheel drive, but unfortunately have some crap luck in the finals. But four-wheel drive, it all went as pretty much as good as what it could do.
Yeah. So for people who didn't know that we had our juniors and vets competition, national competition at Broxtowe last weekend, and you won 4-wheel drive.
Yep, that's correct.
I'm trying to think. How old are you? How long have you been a vet?
Oh, I'm in my rookie season of veteranness. So
Really?
I turned 40 last August.
Oh, brilliant! We were chatting to Damo Whittle last week, and he always dreams of regaining his British veteran title. But he says it's the most stressful time of the year, is that hour just before booking in, because you never know who's going to turn up.
No, I go with that one. I'd had a cheeky heads up that Ellis and Kev Lee weren't going to be there.
Right.
But at the same point, it's Eugene Galley's home track, and with how close he and I are in the national championship, and with the same equipment, etc., it's always going to be a tall order to take it away from the local boy.
Yeah, without a doubt.
Yeah,
without a doubt.
What someone said to me about X-Ray not long ago is there weren't that many X-Ray 4-wheel drives at the beginning of the season, and there's a lot more now.
Very much so. I mean, obviously the team was built last October time for us guys, and we've been working hard to try and sort of improve on all of that. What I've really noticed is the amount of privateers that have picked up the XB4, and just a quick call to whoever is the local F1 in their area or the top guy running the car, a little bit of setup help, and suddenly it just seems to be erupting at the moment.
Yeah, it certainly is. It certainly has been a very good car. You can see it on the track how well it kind of it just takes the grip so well compared to a lot of the other 4-wheel drives out there. And it's
very much so.
Been pretty dominant, really, for quite some time, I think. It just seems to have that layout that really works in a 4-wheel drive. Are you finding that other teams are getting a bit closer? I know you've got I think Yoka working on something new with the 4-wheel drive. Associated's obviously got the 64s that have come out. Are you sort of seeing the gap start to close with the 4-wheel drives now, do you think, or has it still got that edge?
At the moment, the car's still got the edge, in my opinion, obviously. Not that I'm biased because I run an X-Ray.
Nathan, to me, and we've said it a few times to this podcast, if anyone's got a choice, they run an X-Ray 4-wheel drive. Currently, it seems to be on UK Astro stuff really, really good.
Yeah, I mean, the car's been very quiet in the UK for the past few years. I know Greg at RC Disco has worked really hard to actually improve that, and with obviously the start of this year, he's able to take on people like James Helliwell, Paul Crompton, Eugene, Steve Pearce renewed for a second year because he'd already been there for one.
Yeah.
From down my way, you've had people like myself, Stuart Band. Even now we've got some local guys that are quick, like George Tolman now starting to take on the cars. And it's just, as soon as the quick boys have stepped into it, it's been seen how good the actual package can be. And I know there's a lot of names there I haven't mentioned, shall we just say, who are all screaming as to how good the car has been for probably the past 2 to 3 years. But it does seem to be that get the national boys running it, and suddenly the car seems to erupt in the country. And the UK seems to have been a bit slow on that one until this year, but now suddenly it's just boom.
Yeah, I mean, to be fair to it though, as far as sort of local guys running it, the 4-wheel drive anyway, it does seem to be that what a lot of people have been doing is running the B6 as their 2-wheel drive, if they're privateer guys, and the XB4 as their 4-wheel drive. And that just seems to be the way people have gone with it at the moment. They seem to be the two cars which are dominating both sort of classes, I suppose. And at club level, like you say, I think it seems to be. I'm obviously very biased. I'd never run anything but a B64 if I had a 4-wheel drive. But it does seem to be the car that somebody can pick up and use pretty easily and get a decent result out of it, just because of the way that it is taking most of the tracks in the UK, especially the sort of high grip Astro tracks. Are you finding it's got its stumbling points? What are you finding that you guys are getting to the track and going, oh no, it's soaking wet, or oh no, it's a really bumpy track, or is it the really flat tracks? What's its kind of? There's got to be a point where you're going, I'm not so much looking forward to this one.
I would say there's a point where the car potentially struggles. For me personally, where I don't get to run on the sandy Astro tracks like Robin Hood, even Telford at the start of the year, they were two tracks that I really struggled at personally. Perhaps because where I run on very clean Astro, whether it's very bumpy or like Barham is, or very smooth like Eden Park, when you get onto the sandy tracks, I tend to find where I lean on the back end of the car a lot, it didn't suit my style at the start of the year. Some slight setup tweaks, and that's now thankfully a thing of the past. I mean, you don't really get much slipperier than Boughton National, and we managed to put it in an A there, so I think we're now sort of pretty much on top of it, but it took a bit of getting used to at the start of the year.
Yeah, I think I'm obsessed with Boughton's Astro.
I was obsessed with the triple in the finals, I can tell you.
I think a lot of people were. The videos were great on that. It was just, coming up to those jumps in front of the rostrum, you were waiting for the cars and going, right, let's see which way they end up going this time round.
I could hit the same piece of track every time, and for some bizarre reason we did a different thing every time going across it. I know that much.
Yeah, it did look really tricky on that bit. What's been your highlight track this year then?
Highlights for me this year. I've had some fantastic regionals. I'm currently one hand on the championship with that one, which is good. The only person that can technically share the championship with me is George Tolman, who is also now running an X-Ray. I've already got 2 wins and a second. He's now got a win and a second, so if he can win the last regional, we share the championship.
Yeah.
We had a fantastic battle at Plough, which is a small grass track in Tunbridge area. The third leg of the A final, we must have swapped place at least 15 to 20 times for the win, and he actually blocked past me on the last corner. And it was one of those races where, don't get me wrong, we all want to win it, but you've had such a clean race and such good fun doing it, you tend not to mind even if you do finish second. And that was definitely one of those, and fair play to the young man, he was definitely the better one on the day. Boughton for me was fantastic because my cars had never turned a wheel there, so to put it in an A final was really nice, and also to be in qualifying at least at the sharp end of it, even if the fake pixie didn't stay with me. I got to the finals and the luck just ran out, shall we just say, and that's life sometimes, but I still really enjoyed the event. And as I say, so far now, brilliant racing with Eugene at the Veterans, managed to sneak that one off of him, and to be competitive at the Southport track. Oh, definitely, yeah.
Have you really rubbed that in the X-Ray Facebook group or chat?
Oh, I wish I could, but no.
Why not?
It's bigger than me. It's one of those good ones. Eugene and I, we chat a lot trackside, and we work very well together. So it was lovely to actually race fair and square with him. He took one and I took one, which was, as much as I'd like to have taken 2-wheel drive out of him, he was definitely the quicker car in that. And in 4-wheel drive, to be honest, if he had have stayed on his wheels, he was just starting to break away in both of the legs when he made the unfortunate mistake in both of them.
I've got to say though, I watched those 2-wheel drive finals, and there were moments there where you were the quicker car. You know, there were moments there. I mean, obviously there were things that happened, and you know, I think it was leg 3. You had a bit of a nightmare, or leg 2. One of them you had a nightmare leg.
Leg 2, I was very unlucky in that one. I was challenging for the lead with Eugene at the time. We had a clatter of wheels at the end of the straight, which, even though I was on the losing side, I should have probably backed out of it because I felt it was a 6 to 1 half a dozen as I went into it. I don't know whether it was that impact or beforehand, though. I had where I'm running some prototype parts in the car, I had a thrust race failure, and it actually locked the rear axle solid. And so that was leg 2 done, and it's, bear in mind that entire drivetrain has done 3/4 of this season.
Yeah.
You know, all bar renewal of parts and refreshing of parts. So to have it go there was it was more than a surprise, should we just say?
Yeah.
Especially with the quality of parts that was actually in it. And then leg 3, well, by that point Eugene had already won the event, but I could still comfortably sit myself second on the podium.
Yeah.
We were coming round into back markers, and unfortunately, as I came through them, it didn't quite go to plan for one of them, and we managed to come together going over the jumps with my car landing, missing a corner. So that was it. And so from a solid second to 6th in about 6 feet of track.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
But that's life, and at the end of the day, it's still a fun event to me, shall we just say, to do the veterans.
Yeah.
Obviously, I still race at nationals and European and world level, so the veterans is a bit of fun and chance to let your hair down at the end of the year. And obviously, for the lads that work within the team with us, some of them who aren't eligible to race in that event come and repay the favour and pit for us, like what I have done for them as they've come up through the junior ranks over the past 8 to 10 years.
Oh, right. So who helped you out on the day?
On the day we had George Tolman and Mark Revel.
Right.
Both of them are doing nationals with us this season. George is currently turning over to the X-Ray team at the moment from being a privateer, and Mark has been running X-Ray since 2013. And the pair of them both sort of gave up their weekend, came along and pitted, not only for us oldies, but more importantly, we had a couple of under-16s in the team, and they came along, used my feedback from what I was learning from the track to help bring some of the juniors forwards. I mean, we had young Alfie Jeffries out there. He's 6 years old. He's only in his 3rd season of racing, but realistically his 1st year of doing regionals proper.
Okay.
And so the end of seasons for the actual under-13s championship was actually his first ever big event. And it was really good to see sort of Greg from RC Disco turned up and gave him a X-Ray T-shirt to make him feel like one of the team. Obviously, he was underneath the big Huddy gazebo. He had his own personal pit man because George took him right under the wing and advised him completely all weekend. And it was really nice to see the team that works so well together at a national level, like I say, just taking a step back, giving back some of their own time to actually help the juniors come up and through.
Yeah, definitely.
And actually, sort of bring them forwards in their own racing.
Yeah, well, I tell you, we also did that. One of our regionals, Paul Crompton, came up, and even though he wasn't even racing in our regional, sat down. And they were just X-Ray boys. There were a lot of X-Ray boys, but there was, loads of the guys where he was sat round and helping them all out. I don't think he was too keen to get out when it was raining, but
is anybody?
yeah. But he spanned all day for quite a few people.
It's what we do. It's something that when I was a junior coming up and through the ranks back in the late 80s and early 90s. The help, if you weren't factory team sponsored very quickly, was minimal. And so something that I always vowed was that I would always try and give up my own time at the end, races that I wasn't eligible in, like the end of season finals, to help initially with the Southeast juniors or veterans and anybody else that was there, because back in those days it was the F2s as well. Just giving different information, feedback as to what I could see the cars doing out on track and lines and everything else to try and bring them all forwards. It's something we've also done as rules racing as a shop. Any under 16 that approaches us, or even some that we approach, they straight away get a little bit of discount through the shop, which helps at that age because normally it's mum and dad paying for it, not the son or daughter. And so, but more importantly, it's the advice. We offer build services. We offer, so if they get a new kit, not only is it built, it's built as a proper racer would actually build the car. So when they turn up to the race meeting, the car already has a base setting on it. It's all ready and raring to go. It's already been tested and checked to make sure it's all okay, so that when they turn up to race, they enjoy themselves. And that to us is very, very important.
Yeah, without a doubt.
Great. Sounds like a great service.
Well, it's something that we've done, like I say, rules racing's been running now for 6-7 years. And I've probably built in excess of 150, 200 cars for just general public, but probably at least 120 of those have been for under 16s. I mean, the most recent one was for little Alfie. It was actually his two-wheel drive that he was running at the event. So I built it for his parents towards his Christmas present. That was all built up. It was sprayed up. I did a bit of homage to Mr. Jamie Booth and did it in his old colours of the old white, orange and purple.
Nice.
Adorned it with the old sort of as many sponsors stickers as what I possibly could from my own box, which gives them a little bit of free advertising, as we always know, which is a good thing. And the look on a little 6-year-old's face when he unwrapped that and when he first come out and raced it, and to know that when we were watching it, that we could just pick it up, make setup changes, sort it all out for him, and advise him as he was going. And we've done that quite a bit this year through the regionals and club events that we've been with. We've done a couple of test days where we've had juniors come down to it, or even seniors at times, sort of beginners and customers and everything, where a bit like the LMR days, sort of that Lee Martin does. It's advice. It's bringing the juniors on, because if they don't enjoy it, we lose the lifeblood of our hobby. Yeah. And if they're not there, then the likes of Mr. Cragg and Co. don't get their deals because there's nobody there to finance it.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's exactly it. It. And, a big part of why we do this show itself, it's, we're just trying to get the help out there, get the word out there and get people listening and enjoying it. And, yeah, it's a good thing, man. It's a great service to give to people, especially the youngsters. They're, like you say, they are the next lot of people that are going to carry this on. So I think treating them in the right way and giving them the right ideas to carry forward as well is only going to benefit, the next generation after them that come in and so on. So, yeah, it's a really good thing you do, man. And it's nice to hear that it's going well and that people are finding certainly a sort of service from it at the trackside as well.
Whereabouts are you located? Where in the world are you?
I'm right down in deepest, darkest Kent. I live about 20 minutes past Dover, a little town called Deal.
Okay, yeah.
Right on the southeast tip of the corner.
I've been drinking in Deal.
So have I once or twice.
Jeez. It's like the Wild West.
Yeah, can be at times.
Yeah, many years ago for me, there was things. So what region is that then?
That's the southeast region.
Southeast. So which tracks are those?
Main national tracks that everybody know will be Eden Park.
Right.
That's our most northern southeast track.
Right.
We have Plough Raceway, which is in Tunbridge. We have God, where do I even start? We used to have Maritime. Unfortunately, that's closed down recently, as we all know. There's Hastings Raceway, or 1066 as it's known. They race, at the moment, they're outdoors on grass, but during the winter they run on EOS carpet, which gives us a bit of test before we go over some of those. My local actual track that I spend a lot of time at is Faversham Off-Road Car Club, or FORCC as it's known. Brilliant little band. It's what we class as grassroots racing. It's one of the two clubs that I actually cut my own teeth at as a 9-10 year old coming into this hobby. And believe it or not, some of the original committee members still actually run the place, like Alan Moon and Dave Hogg, or Dave Andrews, I should say. Sorry, everybody calls him Hogg. And the likes, John Peters, and they do a fantastic job down there, helping from complete beginners and juniors right the way up to they take care of sort of top F1s like Kyle Moon, myself, Ed Kerry, George, and people like who race down there every Wednesday night. It's indoors on Astro. They've done it cost effective, a bit like your Southport Indoor Club. We use the Schumacher block tyre.
Oh, right, okay.
Only for us, even as pros, for us, it lasts 3 to 4 race meetings.
What Astro? Do you know who runs this club?
Who runs it is John Peters and Alan Moon, are the main heads of the committee.
I might go and find them and find out what actual Astro you run on.
It's an old hockey pitch. It's a very, very expensive, high quality Astro. I know that because the rubber base for it's about inch thick, which means that it isn't cheap. I know one of our committee members managed to get a very good deal on it at the time. And I know it's blooming heavy because, well, I personally don't anymore, but back in the day I'd done my own fair share of lifting it out. But I know that every week they pull that track in and out, from laying down the Astro each week on the hardwood floor, pulling out all the ropes from under the stage, setting up all the jumps and all the rest of it. There is a real hardcore group there that absolutely kill themselves every week so the rest of us can go and play with toy cars. I'm going to say this, I hate indoors. Because I'm not the biggest fan of it.
Because we've got to do the same thing at Southport. We've got to lay Astro on an indoor thing and put all this stuff out. And we do get help. We do get help.
Go on, sorry.
They're all lovely, but we can always do a few more.
Oh, always. I mean, you look at Faversham, and I can guarantee you it'll be the same 8 to 10 people every week, pulling it in, putting it back away, booking everybody in, setting up the race meeting, filling in the computer and all the rest of it. And half the time, the rest of them are all just sat there having a cup of tea and chatting about what they've been doing all week. It'd be so nice just to have the usual, rather than have it always be the same usuals, that other hands go out there and actually do something. But, hey, we can only lead by example and launch out when we get the opportunity ourselves.
Yeah, I found shouting at people helps. Some people say shouting at people doesn't help.
It does, but at the same point, if you yell every week, then people don't come back. So
I find I sit on their table. I do it when I'm booking in.
Yeah,
I'm helping everybody booking in, and you will help me put the track away, won't you? Yeah, thanks.
That's the best one.
And we do get plenty of help at Southport. We are really lucky. It's really good. But it's nice to know that you run the blocks.
Yes, it's not the quickest tyre there. The quickest tyre there is a Ballistic Buggy White by about half a second a lap. But there's so many juniors at the track, and how do you tell young Johnny that all his paper round money has got to go on buying 2 sets of whites or mini spikes or whatever, when for the sake of everybody losing half a second a lap and making it a control tyre, all of us can have a minimum of 3 to 4 race meetings, and some of them get up to like 6 months out of a set.
Wow.
So, I mean, I help them choose the tyre, and from a shop's perspective, I probably couldn't have done a worse job if I tried. But from a sensibility point of view of keeping a club solid, it had to be that way.
Blocks don't last that long up in Southport. I think the school Astro that we use is quite tough.
Yeah.
But you will get a day out of them.
Yeah, I mean, ours is quite a long shag pile. It's nearly sort of half inch, 3/4 inch long. Right. And so you sit on top of the pile rather than actually gripping to the Astro.
Right.
So it's an acquired driving style, should we just say?
Yeah. Gup says that when he comes to Southport, don't you, mate? It's like the car's floating.
Yeah, I think the way that Astro is, though, it's kind of crunchy underfoot, where the pile is very tight and curled. So when the blocks go over it, you've almost got that, just almost where the Astro collapses to one side as you're getting that sort of G-force go over it, and it kind of does that permanently round the corner, so you're not actually sliding, you're almost just going on a permanently collapsing layer of Astro as the tyre goes over it, and it just makes the back end feel a little bit weird when you go around the corners a bit quickly. But they do last a while, that's the thing. It's the one tyre indoors. If you're running on Astro, it's probably a really sensible choice to try and keep costs down. Clearly, it's not going to be the fastest tyre. I think at the Southport one indoors, you guys were mini pins were the quickest ones in there.
Yeah, but our Astro would just ball them in a run.
Yeah,
and that suddenly it's not cost effective for a winter race.
No.
I think the Astro that you guys have there is what I've raced on quite often out in Belgium, one of my favourite tracks, which is shallower. For years before it went to clay, it was like a greengrocer's Astro, and it's almost like Velcro sort of thing, the loop style of Velcro, and it's very aggressive on tyres, but some fantastic racing that you can have on it.
Yeah. Well, we were talking at the National at Southport, how sometimes it's easier for you to go race in Belgium.
It has been. All the while the Eurotunnel keeps its prices sensible. It's actually been... I've been a big fan of tracks like Worksop, although for me Worksop is 240 odd miles and 4.5 to 5 hours of driving. Well, you don't mind because you're going to run two classes. You know you're going to be racing against your Neil Craggs, your Richard Lowes, and the likes of. So you're going to have a very competitive day.
Yeah.
But in comparison, by the time you take into account your fuel up to it, the fact that you have to, for my case anyway, I had to do a travel lodge for the night, etc., and food and co. It was actually cheaper for me to jump on a Eurotunnel, drive out to Belgium. They'd run electric lead out for the camper van, so you're comfy for the weekend. You could practice all day Saturday indoors on Astro, race all day Sunday, and I'd actually be in my own house or coming at least dropping Kyle off at the top of Dover at 8:45 at night. And so you're actually home 2 to 3 hours earlier than what I would have been from a normal Worksop event. And probably about 20 quid better off in my pocket.
Yeah.
So, and the fact that I get to pick up quite a few Belgian beers and chocolates on the
way. That's got to be the bonus, isn't it? That's got to be
World's
the bonus.
racing sells dark and cheap French perfume.
Yeah. And Belgium chocolate, great.
You never told me that when you were at Southport.
Yeah, well, I try and keep that one on the low,
So you've had a good year. So have you told us what you're doing? What are you doing over the winter?
I've got, what have I got left this year? I've got the Stotfold National in, I think it's a week or a couple of weeks. And then I've got one more regional to do, which is... No, I've got two, sorry. I've got Eastbourne, which is on grass this weekend, where we find out what happens with the four-wheel drive championship, whether it's mine or whether it's shared. Then, like I say, Stotfold. Then I've got one more regional, which is at Plough for two-wheel drive. And then I've got a couple of weeks break where I refresh and rebuild all the cars, because all things going well, November time, we're off to China for the Worlds.
Oh, yes, you're going to the Worlds, aren't you?
Yes, I've been gifted the opportunity to go there, and although I'm not lucky like some to have everything paid for, it is, for me, it's the World Championships, and if you have the opportunity to go to it, you're not going to say no.
No.
And so this year is one of those years. It'll be my third Worlds. I did Finland. I did the last Worlds at Utabi. First ever ones on Astro. Now, obviously, I have this one in China. So I'm actually really looking forward to it, assuming that it all goes to plan and we do actually get to go, should we just say?
Yeah. I'm sure it'll be fine.
Yeah, well, that's this. It's the plan, and definitely fingers are definitely crossed, I can tell you.
Well, what we'd love to try. I know we mentioned to Martin Owen, who we know is going as well. Is that as soon as you get over there, don't worry about unpacking your bags. See if you can get Skype to work.
I shall do. I'll give you a ping as soon as I get over because the network I'm on does the old feel at home thing wherever you are abroad.
Oh, okay.
I did actually look at the beginning of this year when I was looking at China, and that is one of the countries where, in theory, my free internet should work. So we should be okay to do a Skype call. So assuming it is, I'll ping you guys and let you know. And then we can perhaps do some live from the event or something. Keep you guys up to date. What's happening?
I've just realised that it's in China, so I wonder what Wednesday evening is in China.
God only knows.
Yeah,
I have Mark Revel that pitted for me at the Veterans.
Mm-hmm.
He's going out to look after me at the Worlds. It was a bit of a dry run for us, sort of finally not pick up the tools myself and let somebody else do it for me. And it was an interesting weekend, shall we just say, but it's been good practice for the Worlds. And he's also done the last sort of couple of nationals and bits and bobs. He's slowly taken over the tools from us and started doing more and more on the cars and helping with prep work at home. So he's coming out to help us with that one. So I would have thought that even if I can't talk, he will happily sit there and do an interview with yourselves and run through things and let you know how we're doing and what's going on and possibly even do some live videoing.
What we want is some goss. That's what we want. Some goss from the pits.
I'll see what I can find out for you.
Let's get us the dirt. That's what we want.
I'll get you the first bit of dirt. I'm definitely running X-ray out there.
That's great.
The only other thing I've seen so far is the cost of tyres, which is not going to be a cheap event. I'm told they're sweet tyres, and I think for every time my car hits the track, it's going to cost me 30 quid.
Jesus.
Yeah, that's every round because they're a soft clay compound, and I'm told the track should, in theory, be sugared. I might be wrong there, but that's what I've read from the Australian guys. And so you're going to be doing a set of tyres a run, and it's 19 quid for rears and 11 quid for front for the tyre and insert, and you can only buy them there. You can't take them with you.
No way.
Yeah.
No.
And then you might as well just throw them away. Yeah,
because they're never going to work in the UK. So that's 6 practices, I think 5 or 6 rounds of qualifying and a final. That's going to be a £650-700 tyre bill by the time you get home.
Jesus.
Yeah, the joys of doing it. Shall we just?
Do you know what? I probably love you a bit more now, Nathan. Because that's a decision you've just gone, well, I'm going to the World. What else are you going to do?
Well, you don't go to a Worlds to be uncompetitive.
No, you are going to find that.
I am realistic in the fact that I know that I'm nowhere near as quick as Lee or Neil or any of the quick guys that are going out there. I think in Finland I was really lucky. I managed to qualify. I think I was 43rd in two-wheel drive and 32nd in four-wheel. Last time out in Japan, I really didn't gel. Although it was on Astro, it was on an Astro that felt nothing like any of the UK Astro tracks or European Astro tracks I've ever driven on. It was a very weird car to drive. And so I think I was in the 50s. But I'm trying to go top 40 at this one. If it's high grip, I know I've got the right cars for it.
Yeah.
So we're definitely going to be flat out and trying, shall we just say? And at that point, then you put to it what you need to put to it.
Yeah, and then there'll be plenty of X-ray people there as well.
Oh God, yeah. Yeah,
there's always seems to be a big show at these things, at the Euros and the Worlds. Yeah. There's many, many people wearing X-ray T-shirts.
You wait till you go to an EOS race, mate. Nearly half of them are, and those that aren't wearing a Schumacher one. It really is.
Okay.
I mean, I've done a few rounds of EOS now. I've been very lucky. The last few years, I've gotten on very well with people like Bent and Marlin and all the rest of the X-ray lads.
Are you going to Poland?
No, with obviously the costs of the world to me because I pay for all of mine.
Yeah.
I've got to be realistic. The Worlds for me is sort of a £3,000, £4,000 event.
Yeah.
So the EOSs I'd love to be doing this winter are just way too close to it.
Yeah, you're just not doing any of them.
No. I might get to one later on, maybe sort of one of the later rounds, like Slovakia, if I get the opportunity. Mainly because I've got a lot of friends out in Slovakia. But
isn't the last one outdoors?
I don't know. I haven't seen yet.
I've seen something.
I know
like
the
that.
touring car boys go outdoors for the last couple. I haven't. Most of the EOSs I've ever seen have always been indoors.
Yeah, I've always been indoors.
Yeah.
I thought of somewhere. The very last one is in Germany. Is on one of the new Astro tracks that we've seen being built. But no,
to be on the new. Is that Mark Reinhardt's track, the MR33?
Could be.
Arena.
Could be.
Because I know he's now built an outdoor one. The only problem with Germany is there's so many people that go to the German rounds because they're right central in Europe. EOS have this family ethos that if you book in, you get a place, which is fantastic. But I did Germany about 18 months ago, and I think there was over 370 racers turned up to it across the classes. And that meant you were 6 o'clock was your first race, and 6 o'clock in the morning was your first race, and 11:30 at night was the last race.
That sounds awesome.
That sounds perfect. I'm gonna love that.
Yeah, for a racer, it's for those looking at it,
Aidan.
But from an actual racer's point of view, it absolutely kills you.
Yeah, Aidan's going to be in his element, because what Aidan will have there is he's only running one class. And it means that he'll have like 4.5 hours between rounds to just go round and annoy people and sit with people.
Yep.
I've heard he'll be doing the Southport sleep up there. Go on.
I'll just get my head down. It'll be fine. We'll party on the first night. Take it seriously from then on. It'll be ace.
Yeah.
Nathan, we're gonna have to let you go because people don't know this, but it's like nearly 11 o'clock at night. Thanks very much for your time. You've been great.
No problem at all, guys.
We'd love to hear that you've beaten a young boy for the 4-wheel drive championship, regional championships, in a week or two's time. That'd be great if you could tell us that. And if you could, we can catch up to you at the Worlds. That'd be brilliant, mate.
No problem at all. Can I just say thanks for having us on, guys? It's been really appreciated and really enjoyed it.
No, we've enjoyed having you on, mate.
Definitely have to catch up soon, though.
Indeed.
Yeah, mate, we've had a few messages go, why aren't you showing the X-Ray team some love? So we thought, well, come on, let's bite that bullet and get them straight on. But no, you've been great, Nathan. Thanks very much, mate.
No worries at all. Whilst I remember, you really need to get on Brendan and Dom Num. They're a fantastic family racing for X-Ray. They also do 8th as well as 10th. Really, really nice guys. Doing I'm the Southern manager for Team X-Ray, and Brendan, Dom's father, is the Midlands and Northern team manager for X-Ray.
Got you.
And so he'd be another fantastic one to talk to about how their year's gone, because I know Dom has made, I can't remember, I think it's 2 A finals already this year in 4-wheel drive. I think he's made 1 in 2-wheel drive as well. So this is his first proper year running 10th, because he's come from an 8th background. So it'd be another good one to get on as well, just to see how he's found it, what he's actually doing, how he's actually finding coming over to 10th from 8th racing.
Yeah, that'd be good. I think his dad is in our Facebook group. So I think certainly on my friends list, we'll definitely catch up with him. Cheers, Nathan.
Also, no worries at all.
Cheers, mate.
Speak to you soon, okay, buddy?
Bye.
Thanks, mate. Take care.
Bye. Bye.
Well, there we go. I seem to have managed to have got rid of everybody there. So let me just click a few buttons here. Oh, there he is. This is Aidan coming back now. So hopefully that's Aidan back with us.
Yeah, hi mate, how you doing?
I'm very good, mate. I managed to cut everybody off then for somehow. But here we are.
Terrible.
Back again.
It was me. I did it. I pressed the wrong button.
Ah, right. I did wonder. I thought, hang on a minute. How's that? Everybody's gone. Okay. That wasn't the same as last time I clicked that button, but I know how these things go. It's great having Nathan on. bit of a catch up on the X-Ray team and what's going on with them. So a big thanks to Nathan for coming on. It was really, really good to have a catch up.
Yeah, it was nice to hear about some of the stuff he's doing regarding building cars. It seems like he's got a really good shop there, really focusing on the racing.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, definitely, and especially if you can get the junior guys a bit of help, and especially when it comes to the building of the cars and setting them up and that sort of thing. It's a real minefield when you first get into it, and I can imagine for a youngster coming into it with his dad, and neither of them will know a huge amount about it, like none of us did when we first started. So yeah, to have that backup, that's a really good thing, and obviously,
yeah,
it's a good start for anybody that wants to get into racing. Really, not just the juniors, but for anybody that wants to get into it, to have that car built by a National A finalist. You're not going to get much better than that, are you?
No, and I'm going to say, yeah, for people like me who really haven't got the time, I've got Felix to build my car.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
I think it's a great option, and Tom Pat doing the wiring. And what he said, I think we might have cut him off right at that point. He was talking about Brendan Nunn.
Mm-hmm.
So we'll definitely, great if Brendan or someone knows Brendan listens to this, tell him that's why I've sent him a friend request, and we'll make sure we'll speak to Brendan about the stuff we've got, sort of more Northern X-Ray, and I think he's involved somewhere in New Concept, something to do. I know they do shock oils and diff oils and glues and stuff like that, so it would be great to see how they're getting on there.
Yeah.
So, what are you doing this weekend?
Like we said earlier, it's the Mendip Regional this weekend, mate. I'm pretty sure we are going to see quite a few races that you don't normally see at Mendip turn up, and there's some quick guys in the region. I know we're not a great region for travelling to nationals and bits and bobs like that, so a lot of the drivers are fairly well sort of, I wouldn't say unknown, but maybe not so well known by a lot of the guys that have come up racing in the last few years.
Okay. So
you've got some really, really quick guys there that will be around at the weekend, and if I made the A final at Opel, I'd be happy with top of the B at this regional, considering probably who's going to be there. You've got some.
Will Mark Field beat you?
Mark Field beat me. Do you know what? I think I've probably beaten Mark maybe once when he had a broken car. No, Mark's really quick, mate. I can just about keep up with Mark. I think between me and him, especially maybe the last few months, I don't know, I seem to either be picking up pace or everybody else is slowing down. But I've got a lot closer than I ever have been. Not that my racing career's been massively long, but I'm certainly a lot closer to that top end of the region than I've ever been before. But there's a lot of guys. There's a lot of unsung guys. A lot of newer guys into the hobby that are in the southwest that are very, very quick. You've got the likes of Gavin Knight. I mean, Gav's it's weird watching Gav drive. When I watch Gav drive, I kind of watch him go around the track and I go, he's not going that quick, but he's just putting the laps in. He's just putting solid laps in, one after the other, every single round, and he gains an awful lot from that. There's been times where I've raced Gavin in the past and I've pulled away from him at the start of the race, and I think I've got quite a good lead, and you relax a little bit, you might get, you might take a few risks because you're a bit further ahead and really try and push, and then all of a sudden he's there, and it's just because he's been putting those laps in one after the other. And at events like regionals where people are trying to push really hard and they crash and they make mistakes, and because of it, somebody like Gavin's got the potential to do incredibly well, as well as some of the really, really fast guys that are there. You know, there's the likes of Paul Penny that'll turn up, and Paul is, I would say, one of the best in the region. You know, he's a incredible driver. He drives a terrible car. He drives one of those PR things, but Paul as a driver, incredibly good driver. I think I'm fairly sure he's driven for CML in the past.
Right.
I think, I'm fairly sure he has in the past. But yeah, very, very talented guy on the track. Mark Hancock, you know, Mark, wherever he goes in the country, it appears is a challenge to anybody on a lot of tracks.
I like Mark a lot.
He's great. He was ace at the International. He was absolutely ace. He was. I don't think he'll quite be on the same form next year. I think he's decided that the International is his party race for the year next year. So I'm not sure whether it will be the same or whether a few beers will do him any good. But Mark will be there. You got Dan Hurrell. You know how quick Dan can be. Dan is quick.
Yeah.
Opel, the only thing that stopped him getting in the A final was just unfortunate things with back markers that wouldn't let him go.
No. In fact, he'd be even quicker if I posted that motor he wanted. Yeah, I've completely forgotten about that. Sorry, Dan. I'll get on to that. And I always say to people, if they're buying it off me, I'm not the quickest of posters.
No, but do remember when people do buy stuff off you, sometimes it's for things like regionals.
Yeah, well, that's why I never take money until they've got them. So if you want to scam me, please try and buy something from me, because I'll generally sort of say, I don't worry about it, mate, I'll post it straight away. I know, but, I only sell to people really you kind of know, don't you?
Yeah.
It's all good stuff.
Yeah, like I say, there's Paul Rose, Brian Burrows, Dan Harding, Martin Owen. I can keep naming people that will be in that A final week after week after week after week after week, and they're quick guys. They are consistent guys out there on the track. Every time I've raced with them, like I say, I'm getting closer. I don't know how close I'm going to be to getting a top end result. I'd be really, really chuffed if I did, but I think, like I said before, B1, I'll take that, and anything else better than that is a bonus.
Yeah, that'll be great, because Joe, I know we've talked about our region, Northwest. We talked about your current region, and actually it was a guy called Chris Musgrave sent me a message today and said, well, hang on, you guys are going to start talking about other regions. And I'd say, well, actually, handily, we've approached a couple of other guys, from one of the Scottish guys, we've approached the Irish, and to sort of say, look, we could do it, someone in the region to come in and give us a bit of an update. And if someone came up after a region and gave us 20 minutes about who went on, what went on, we'd love that. So if you're in a region that we don't mention, Scotland, North East, Mid East, all those kind of things, drop us a message and we'd be happy to get you on after you've done your region. And you don't have to win it, if you just enjoyed your day at the regional, let us know. But Chris was very happy to tell us that last week he beat Mike Carberry. Which is no surprise, because one of the only surprises about Mike Carberry is he drives a Serpent.
Yeah. Now the thing is, doesn't Chris drive a PR though?
Chris drives a PR, yeah.
Yeah. See, now the thing is with that is a Serpent and PR. I'm not sure I could choose between them, but according to Chris, he did give him a bit of a whooping though.
Yeah. So we're happy to update people on these kind of bits. I'll tell you what is on my list of things to chat about is, as well as I'll tell you what, we best talk about this. The Cardiff Club have got a new venue this week. They're going indoors. They've stolen the carpet from Chippenham. I think there seem to be some pictures of guys in, transit vans moving carpets.
Yeah.
So I think they've got a new venue you. So if you're in that kind of South Wales area, go see them. And then after our regional, we've got the F2s, 3s, 4s and 5s at Kidderminster.
We have.
And I think there are some spaces. I'll speak to Stu Jones today.
There's spaces. I think anybody that wants to get in, just get yourself booked in ASAP.
Speak to your regional rep.
But I think one of the more important things is, do you lot think you're ready for it? I mean, really?
Oh yeah, we think the Northwest is coming. Well, to be honest, the Northwest is not coming throwing punches. I'm coming throwing punches for the Northwest.
Yeah, same as me for the Southwest. No one else cares except, like, literally.
Yep.
I don't think any other region cares. I think it's just me and you pitting everyone against each other in our heads.
Yes.
And, you know.
In fact, that reminds me that I did get a lovely message from Chris Patterson, who is the North East regional rep.
Okay.
Just wanting to, making sure that he was happy that we were talking about the North East in the right way. And I think we'll know how we're talking about the North East after Kitty.
Yeah. Well, hang on a minute. North East, that's Robin Hood, isn't it?
Well, I think Robin Hood's in the middle of the country, but yeah, it's the North East region. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So how?
I'm Batley and Berry.
I think I've been more than complimentary about Robin Hood, so I've certainly got no problem with the North East. The region for me that I don't know a lot about is the South East. I'm just not too sure what tracks we've got. I probably could if I thought about it.
If you listen to the South East, Nathan Rawls has just told us who was in the South East region.
Yeah, before that, you know, I wouldn't have been able to tell you exactly what was going on or what clubs were down there or what was where, but that's maybe more my ignorance more than anything else that's going on, and just being caught up in my own little bubble of racing, really, in the Southwest.
We can only talk about the things we know.
Yeah.
And you know, I talked about Mark Field and how you might get on with the regional with him, because we were chatting to Mark Field today about in the Big Blue Tent Facebook group. We've had a load of new guys have come on. Hopefully they find us as we're there. We are mainly in an off-road group, but if you're an on-road guy who likes a bit of off-road or does mind us taking the mick of a bit of on-road, then you know we'd love you to be in the Facebook group as well. We don't turn anyone down. We've never. Well, I've kicked many people out, but that's only because they've annoyed me at some point.
I've not kicked a single person out of that group at all. I believe that the group itself, other than scammers and things like that stopping them getting in, anybody's welcome. But what I will say, if you come in that group and expect to tell me what I can write in my own group and what I can say, you're in for a fucking shock, because that's not going to happen. I'm going to take the piss out of on-road. I'm going to say touring cars are boring as fuck. I'm going to. But do you know what? We are one of the biggest supporters of RC you will ever find. So if you want to come in my private group, my private group on Facebook, and
it's yours now.
Tell me what I can write. It's the one that I made, yeah. And tell me what I can write in there. It's not going to happen. Don't be offended by that, because I certainly wouldn't go in anybody else's group and say, you can't write that in here. It's not right, because you just don't do that. Yeah. So come on in, everybody's welcome, but you know, if you take offence, if you're worried about what's being said, or if you're just a little bit of a girl, it's probably not the place for you.
Though we're fully accepting of girls, and we have some girl members.
Yes, we do. Fully accepting of girl members, not a problem at all, as long as they can handle the piss being taken out of touring cars and X-ray drivers.
Yeah. So we've just had one on. I tell you what's on my list.
Proof is there. Look, I've been told I am bad for the brand of X-ray. I've been told this and that about what I say and what I do. For the love of God, it's taking the piss. It's a bit of a joke. If you don't know that by now, then man, you got something wrong with you. I'm gonna take the piss, and I welcome people taking the piss back out of me, because it's just a bit of fun, you know.
Yeah, it's all good. It is all good, and you know, we love everybody.
We do love everybody, you know.
Except 12 LMP drivers.
I've
They're the worst.
tarnished Schumacher for many years. How many years have I absolutely slated Schumacher? Not just the cars, because of the belts, the company and the team and everything, but I'm there at the National helping Trish set his whole gazebo set up. I've got Tom Yardy coming on the show doing his bit for Schumacher. I'm hoping at some point people are going to get the message that I'm actually a really nice guy. I do like all forms of RC. I just take the piss out of everybody, and that's it. There's nothing horrible meant behind it.
Yeah. Only worry when we're being nice. That's the new motto. It's my life motto. Only worry when I'm nice.
If I don't like you, I won't waste any time. I just won't talk to you. You're gone. I will drop you like a fucking stone if I don't like you. So if I'm not taking the piss, that's the time
like
to
a
worry.
Stone. Talking about dropping like a stone. Clearly the biggest chat. What we've all been waiting for, though you actually announced it on Facebook, was the great KO Sanwa battle.
Oh.
So let's talk about that. You know, let's set the scene for the people who don't know. You've had your Sanwa, what was it? Z.
Sanwa Z, yeah, I got that.
Yeah.
Hang on, I had the Futaba 3GR?
Yes.
Now, my original 3GR came from Tony, oh my god, what was his name? It was from South Mulligan, yeah. It was his.
Nice.
I bought it off him. And I loved that. I thought it was great. Way better than that crappy wheel thing. How people use those, I do not know. It's odd.
Joey
thing.
Joey Fisher, you're wrong.
Just it's not normal. It's just not right. Anyway, so I got that. That was great. Much better than the wheel, and I had that for quite a few years, and I was just really, really happy with it. And then it was the Opel round of Southport. Was it the last? No, it wasn't the last Super round. It was the one before that. So,
yeah,
2015. I had to go on Gary's KF2. We all swapped cars for the last finals, didn't we?
Yes.
And I had to go on Gary Ennis's KF2 in the final. And he had a Sanwa X, I think it was.
Yeah, he did.
X's X or whatever it is. And it was just unbelievably better than the 3G. Obviously a much, much more expensive handset. And it made me want to go out and get a better handset. I did. I went out and got the Sanwa Z, which was the new Sanwa at the time. And it was phenomenal. I've just got better and better since I've had it. The best upgrade I've bought for my RC in the whole time I've done it is a better transmitter. The thing that links me to the thing that I'm trying to control, you know. And it made a massive difference. And it was great for ages and ages and ages. And then we got to Robin Hood, and the story's all, you know, that's all history. And I got the KO whilst the Sanwa got sent off to what is now Schumacher, is now the dealer for Sanwa. So it got sent off to them. They had to send it off to Sanwa in Japan, and it was gone for 6 months.
Right.
And I got it back the other week, last week, in fact, and turned up at the shop.
So what have you been using for the last? What have you been using for the last 6 months?
The KO Esprit 4.
The radio I've got.
The same radio that you've got.
Yeah, which is ace.
A fantastic radio. Fantastic, completely different feel in your hands. Sticks feel completely different. The sticks are slightly wider apart from each other on the KO than they are the Sanwa.
Yeah.
And although both boxes are like identical, if you stand them back to back to each other, they're the same width. You know, side to side, they are the same. But because the sticks are a little bit wider apart, it feels like the KO's a smaller thing to hold, because you're not reaching your hands in as far on the top.
Okay, yeah.
Now, it was great. I did really, really well with the KO. Really, really well with it. From the first time that I took it out, it was awesome. Felt really, really connected. Couldn't have chosen a lot between what I remembered of the Sanwa at that point through the tears and anger of it breaking on me. Yeah, it was great. And then obviously the Sanwa came back, and I tested them both on Sunday back to back with each other, and the Sanwa just was better for me. I was quicker. I was a lot more consistent with it.
Right.
The position of where I had my thumbs was just felt more comfortable. The I don't know, the thickness of it in your hand, the weight of it, everything. It just felt a lot better to hold, a lot more comfortable, and I think that made me feel a bit more comfortable and confident with it on the track. So yeah, it kind of won out really on personal preference rather than anything else, because the features on it, between the two, there's just nothing to choose from. There's
Right.
just nothing to choose from. They've both got their different ways of doing things and different ways of laying things out and saying what things are and what they do, but it's all pretty much the same stuff across both of them. They've both got more functions than you, me, or any other 10th scale off-roader is ever going to use.
Yeah.
You know, you're not...
So
Go on.
you enjoyed your time with the KO, but you were in this position. I don't think many people have been in, or I've not, where you've had both, and you've ran them back to back, and you feel like you're just happy with the Sanwa.
And you got to remember, I've been running that KO every week and doing practice sessions with it for 6 months solidly. I've not really had much of a break, and I've done some big race meetings and had a lot of track time with that thing.
And had some good results.
And some fantastic results. I've had, A finals at Opel at Mendip. The results at Bury, chasing Damo down. I had a great final, a great weekend at the International. I've had some awesome club meeting results and some other bits and bobs that I've done in between as well. But they've all been really, really good. It's a great transmitter. But to then get the Sanwa back, plug it in, and from the second I've got it, after not having it for 6 months, feel like I'm quicker, faster, and visibly more consistent with it. It kind of speaks volumes, really. I can't, there's a bit of me that wonders where, if I'd be any better than I am, or if I would have improved a bigger amount this year, if it hadn't have broke.
Right.
But that being said, although I do prefer it, 6 months to get a transmitter fixed, bit of a piss take, that, isn't it?
Did it have to go all the way back to Korea?
Japan, apparently.
Right.
It takes 6 months to fly a plane to Japan.
It
It doesn't though, does it? But it doesn't. It doesn't take that long though. I just thought, 6 months for it to get fixed and returned for a transmitter that in the UK costs £500 plus in some places.
Yeah.
I'd had it a year. It broke. It just ridiculously broke. Then took 6 months to come back and cost 70 odd quid to have it repaired. So,
right.
For me, I don't know. That was a massive kick in the nuts. It's just it is for me a better transmitter to use, a better radio system to use on the track.
So yeah, and if anyone wants a KO SP4, which is the radio I use, that's been used over the last 6 months, give you a call.
Yeah, give me a shout on Facebook or on Oopal or wherever the social media outlets I've got are. Just contact me if you want it. Yeah, it's certainly just sitting in the box on a shelf now. I've packed it all away. It's even got a printed manual with it, which they don't come with. How's that?
Oh, mate, they're about like 100 pages of Japanese craziness.
Yes, and who doesn't enjoy that?
No, that's the highlight. In fact, you should have said it doesn't come with a printed manual, or I could have had the printed manual off you.
Oh, you can have it if you want. It doesn't, it's got a CD with it.
Okay, well done. I'll have to laugh at your kiddie.
Okay, no worries. That's not a problem. We can do that.
Thanks, mate. Well done.
That's providing nobody listens to this and buys it beforehand.
Yeah, of course. If you buy it, so buy it soon, and you get a printed manual.
Mm-hmm.
If you don't buy it in the next 2 weeks, I'll have a printed manual.
Yeah, there you go. There's your
an offer you
incentive.
can't refuse. And I'll tell you what else we've not said today is we've not said don't forget to like and share the podcast.
Yeah, don't forget that. That's massive help to us.
I have found the button. I'm not going to be able to find it now, and so it actually does show us who's sharing the podcast as well. I could never find that button. So, and we were thanks very much for what was done, the sharing and the likes that were done. And off the top of my head, because the people I know, Evo and Kevin Hodgkinson and the Dory, Mark Hedling again. Thanks very much. One of the runs his KO show in Yoke groups and always make sure it's shared there. And I'll tell you what else. We got a mention on Bobby and Jeff show.
Ah, yeah, that was awesome.
Yeah, I especially like the bit where he goes, well, I first spoke to them, I thought they were a load of JQ fans who were going to give me loads of abuse. But actually they were really cool. And they said that they inspired us to do the podcast, which is 100% true. But what I'd also like to say is what we figured out is if those two could do it, anyone could do it.
Man. Well, there goes our trip to the States.
Yeah, that's fine. It was going to be 1/8. It was going to be very tricky for us to run electric 1/8. I'm hoping Joey Fisher pulls his finger out and invites us over to Florida for a couple of weeks.
Oh, that'd be awesome.
That'd be ace. We'd do that. How big's your house, Joey Fisher?
Yeah. Could we build a track in the back garden? Because let's face it, that is the dream.
Yeah, as Neil said. That was, I don't know if everyone's, I don't know where people are after he caught up last week, which was obviously, a great show with Neil. We love him dearly, both of us. And, that was the line that struck with me. We were talking about, there's a house for sale in America that has its indoor toy car track in the back, in the backyard. And he came around and Neil Craigie said, well, isn't that everyone's dream? I've gone, Jesus, this is his job. And he still wants to build a track in his backyard.
Yeah.
In fact, I think it's a bit mean.
I bet Mick won't let him. Yeah.
No, I think Mick should do that.
Maybe you can tell him next time you see him at the Southport National if you boys put in for one next year. Maybe you can tell him then.
I could tell you that, though it's no big surprise. We did have a meeting. And we are going to put in for another national next year.
No, I think you should. It
was pretty well received.
Mm-hmm.
So it's good. So I'll tell you what. I've got my Barrow Regional this weekend on the Sunday, but I'm actually camping over on the Saturday night.
Ooh, is this in your tent with the material that lets water pass straight through it, like it's not
Yeah.
there.
Yeah, this is my £10 tent. The reviews on Amazon after I bought it are it's not waterproof.
No,
So-
it's almost like you're not in a tent at all.
Yeah, it was one of the reviews. So what I'm thinking, hoping of, is this one night of camping will just remind me how bad camping is.
Mm-hmm.
And I won't need to camp again.
Yeah.
But, you know, Kevin Hodgkinson's taking his caravan, so if it's bad, I'm going to break into that.
Do you know what I don't understand? Is people that go camping and they drive there in a car and then don't just sleep in the car.
Yeah, I did think that. Maybe if it's that bad, we can just sleep in the car.
Yeah, job done. You've got a, you have got an estate, haven't you? Yeah, just put the
Yeah,
back
of course I
seats
have,
flat. Put all the seats
Yeah,
flat in the back. There you go, job done. You got a double bed.
Yeah, and Borley can freeze his bits off in my old tent.
Yeah. Yeah, well you could run the car, just point the exhaust towards the tent.
Yeah.
I keep him warm.
Tommy did that many years ago. Woke up at 7 o'clock in the morning when we were camping somewhere and just started the journey in the tent. Because he wanted to get some batteries charged so we could get on the track.
Yeah, I can believe that as well.
Oh, yeah, it's great. Though we did have some crosswords this week. So I'd start off apologising to Tommy for our crosswords today, last Sunday. I'm sure I could have handled it better.
No, I don't think you could.
But
Not from the way you told me the stories, anyway.
No, yeah, the language from Tommy, yeah. But no, that's all. So I think we'll be trying to sort something for the next time we want at Southport to make sure we have some real tight timings done for people. So watch that for the next time. And that's really it, mate.
Well, I think before we go, we've got to mention that what we're going to try and do is in the next sort of show or two, we're going to try and get a few of the guys who have done the LMR training days to come on.
Yes.
So if you have done an LMR training day, get in touch with us on the Facebook page or the Facebook group. We would love to have you on the show for 10-15 minutes, just have a bit of a chat and just see what it's been like, your experiences of it and what you've sort of gained and that sort of thing. So give us a shout on the group. We've got a list of a few people that we know have done the training days, so we'll be in touch with a few people as well. But if you have done one and we haven't been in touch, please give us a shout.
Yeah, it'd be great.
And it'd be great to get some feedback, and obviously just in response to the day that leads it with the kids, I do think it's something that we should all be doing a bit more of, is giving up a bit of time like that and going down and helping a few other people out. You know, the better we can make it for other people, the better it's going to be for us. So, on that note, whether it's day or night, have a good one, everybody, and we'll catch up with you all next week.
Yep. Cheers, mate. Thanks for your time, and thanks to Tom and Nathan for coming on.
Thanks very much, guys. See you all soon.
Cheers, mate. Bye now.